Hey team, thanks for coming to take a look at another video here with me. So today we're going to go ahead and cover Extinction. The new map, it just came out today. I've gone ahead and scoured the map pretty much literally as much as you possibly could. I've gone in the map, gone out of the map, used ghost mode, gone through all the caves, gone through all of the areas, and I wanted to make sure I found the best possible locations that I could for you guys. Now, keep in mind, it's still early. There may be a couple of spots I haven't been able to find just yet, but I think I've done a pretty good job. I think you guys are going to be pretty excited with this one, and I hope you guys like the locations. Now, this is based off of if I would build there. Now, I do run a medium-sized trap. We were playing on Conquest. We've got 25 people, so keep in mind, this is basically what I'm looking at. You can get a lot of mega traps in a lot of these spots, especially with the new limitations on the locations and how much you can actually do in them. So yeah, let's go ahead and take a look at them. This is probably going to be our first base location. Now, the reason this is going to be a little bit lower is because you don't have a ton of resources. You have a good amount. You're pretty close to the green area here. You're going to get a lot of stone. You're going to get a lot of just bushes, trees, things like that. Not a whole lot of metal in the air that I've been able to find. But again, this is going to be another one of those really, really defensible places. So that's why it's pretty. That's why it's going to make the top 5 at all. Now, this is kind of like a cave, which is part of the reason I've chosen it. This is it right here. So it's actually just off the side of one of the ramps that come in and out of this green area. This is the actual entrance here at 3219. Now, this is the first and only real walkway into the area, so you can actually block it pretty easily there. There's a little outpost little thing here where you can just kind of see out over the area here. You can't really get in and out here very easily without climbing picks or something similar to that. So if you blocked off right here, you'd have a good little chunk of ground. It's not a ton, but it's enough space, right? Especially with the new cryopods. So this is the whole section, really. Now you have another little drop off right here, which you'll have to figure out how to either defend or whatever. You can even just use it for flyers, however you guys want to set it up. Set up some cliff platforms with some chandelier turret towers. However you guys want to do it. You have quite a few good options here for this one. It's going to make it really, really defensible and really easy. You've got a decent amount of space. You can do some breeding. You can do some, just some basic base maintenance stuff. So that's why it's going to make number 5, and I think it's a pretty decent base location. So I would probably just be careful. This is kind of a high foot traffic area again, why it's probably one of the lower ones here on the list. But yeah, not a bad base location overall. Alright guys, this is actually going to go ahead and open up spot number 4 for us. So it's the closest thing I could find to a cave here on Extinction. Now I know it's kind of a normal building spot for a lot of the bigger tribes. What I'm going to recommend is this spot here. If you have a large tribe, something weird going on, and I feel like it's a meteor storm because it seems like that's fire raining down. So this is subject to change. Remember, this is day 1. Anyway, all right, let's look at this. So this is the actual entrance to the spot here. We're in this little red mushroom biome section. This is the one of 2 spots that you can actually enter this area. It's very, very large. Again, gives you a lot of room, which is not necessarily a bad thing if you have the manpower to cover it. Here's entrance number 2. Outside of that, there's no other way to get in or out of this cave that I could find. That's why I would highly recommend it for some of these larger tribes, so that you have the actual resources and manpower to be able to actually defend the area. Yeah, it's really, really not... What is that? What is going on out here? Oh, it's big meteors. Check that out. That's pretty cool. Yeah, and then it keeps you safe from the meteors. This was a 2-parter. I was gonna also recommend. Let's go into. Nah, we'll take a look at that anyway. I was also gonna recommend building up here as well if you do have the manpower, which is part of the reason that this makes it such a good spot for a very, very large tribe. There's only one entrance to get up here. It's very flat on top, and it's right above the cave area. However, I don't know what these meteors do to buildings, so I'm no longer gonna recommend building on top of this area. That is insane. Outside of that, yeah, this is the only way you can actually get up to this section here. Actually, you can see you got a pretty long walkway, and it's not too bad. What is this, a terminal? Ooh, King Titan terminal. Okay, scratch that. You might not want to build up here. I'd recommend building that in the cave. We're gonna leave the top part of this completely off. But I'm gonna have to scope this out a little bit because that's actually pretty freaking awesome. Anyway, that's gonna wrap up number 4. Build down in the cave, don't build up here, and let's jump into the next one. And here's base location number 3. So we're about 6288. This is out in the open world. We're not in one of the biomes. Now the reason that this is going to be one of the base location number 3 spot It is a little bit more dangerous, so you are going to have to be able to actually defend yourself out here. But the big thing is there's only two real pathways. If you consider this one right here, maybe you'll block it off right there. But there's a pathway there to get up and a pathway down there to get up. It also gives you a lot of building room or a lot of dino room if you're going to store your dinos out. I'm assuming you probably still have to do that if you don't want them to be on cooldown when you're breeding. So mega tribes are still going to need a lot of room. So that's why I put this at number 3. This is the back entrance. So there is a third entrance up the side here. One of the benefits to this spot is it is pretty flat as far as when you actually get in here. It's pretty flat compared to most of the spots here in Extinction. And you also have this right here. So this is going to be your little city terminal. It's going to be inside your base location. You're on the world border, so that's not an issue. You don't have anything on the backside there. You can probably put a turret tower up on here on a cliff platform, chandelier down, cover both ends, really, so people can't come up on the backside, and it protects the ramp there. You will have to put something up on top to make sure people aren't messing with you from the top there. But other than that, it's really not a bad location. This new map, Extinction, is so weird for base locations. But I think this is going to be a pretty good one. You have a decent amount of resources around. There is an Alpha Rex here, which is a little weird. And obviously you have rock drakes there too. Anyway, I think this is going to be a pretty good spot for bigger tribes. It's going to be a lot of ground to cover. You will have to protect a lot of area, but outside of that, I think it's going to be a pretty good spot to be able to defend. There's not really much higher ground other than this here, but you should be able to defend that pretty easy. You know what you're doing. But yeah, I think that's going to be base location number 2. Let's go and look at the next one. All right, base location number 2. So this one's down inside the little green foresty area. We're sitting at about 3119, so you're looking at the actual spot itself. Now, the reason this spot's so good, think like Ragnarok Spirals area is what it's actually called. Again, this is going to be a little bit of a bigger area, but this is the only way up to the spot. There's this ramp here, so you have a lot of protection area. You can hang chandeliers off the side. There's a lot of things you can actually do to protect this spot, and it gives you a lot of working room, especially with the 100 turret limit. So you have a lot of space to actually put up defenses before you get up here. It is kind of a bigger area again, which gives you plenty of breeding room, which is great. There are a few resources up here, but that's not too big of a deal. As you can see, I've already been playing around with this a little bit just to test a couple of things out. You can't walk up this specifically here, so this is probably your good base starting spot right here. It's not too tall, you're not going to have to worry about it. However, what I would recommend is actually building up here. This is going to give you a pretty good base location, and the reason I'd recommend it is because no one's going to be able to get to you. You're at one of the highest spots on the map, no one's going to really be able to get above you, especially if you cliff platform some of these off, maybe even throw some chandeliers up there if you really want to. It's going to be really hard for them to tank out these bases. Now, as you can see here, this is kind of a special little sneak peek, I guess, before we get into the actual items, but we have one of these tech bridges. These tech bridges work perfectly. It goes straight down to that other location. You don't have any problems with it whatsoever. It's you extend it out a little bit with these cliff platforms. It's a little small without the cliff platforms. I want to say probably about, you might be able to fit like a 10 by 8, 10 by 7 in there without the cliff platforms. It gets much bigger. You can probably easily fit a 10 by 10, 10 by 15, 10 by 20 if you shape it in there right, with the cliff platforms. So this is probably going to be one of the best base locations in my opinion. That's why we're ranking it in number 2. You do have quite a few resources. You're really close to the forest titan. So there's actually a lot of benefits to this actual spot. You've got a lot of room, a lot of defensive spots. I think this is going to be a really great spot. So outside of that, let's go ahead and check out into spot number 1, and let's jump into it. Alright guys, so looking at our last and final top 1 spot to build. Now, I think this one's going to be a little bit controversial, but to be completely honest with you, I do think it's going to be the best spot in the entire map to build. Now, what I'm talking about is this literally right here. So, the reason I think this is going to be the best spot to build is because you can put cliff platforms on it, which means you have building room. As you can see, I've already kind of started to spam it out. You can spiral it down, so you have plenty of building room for whatever you want. You don't need a whole lot of space for dinos anymore because of the cryopods, so you have a lot to do. Like, you have a lot of room to work with. You can kind of build these. I'm not the best builder, so I'm sure there's better designs out there. You probably get quite a bit of room up here. You can slap a teleporter down at the top and you'll be good to go. Now, there's nowhere else for anywhere to fob. They're not going to be able to fob on top. What are they going to do? They're going to have to fly up here. They're going to have to do whatever they can to actually get to you. This is going to be very difficult for anybody to raid. Yes, it's going to be kind of a pain to transfer resources up if you don't have the teleporter, so this is kind of a very end game, late game, or if you're very patient and can transport all of those resources to the very top here. I mean, get it done. This is going to be the best place to actually store your stuff. It's going to be extremely hard for anyone to ever raid you up here. If that's taken, obviously you can pick one of these lower ones. It's not going to be quite as safe because it is a little bit easier to get to, and anyone can fob you from this big one if they get the opportunity. Yeah, I think this is probably the best one. There's obviously not going to be very many resources, no resources really anywhere near you, so that's not going to be a thing ever at all, but that's okay. I mean, you have a teleporter, you can do whatever you want on this map pretty much, and my personal preference is that this is going to be one of the best ones. Now, the only thing you have to keep in mind is that we did see a meteor storm a little while ago that may or may not affect this location. I haven't been able to confirm it yet. There's no way for me to make that happen that I'm aware of. But we are pretty high. Last thing to keep in mind is we are in the map, so you're not going to get death wipe. Hey. And we are really, really close to the red exit stuff that you have on the outside of the map, so you're not going to have to worry too much about that. But yeah, I think that's pretty much going to wrap this one up, guys. I really appreciate it. This is a very weird map. It really is. I mean, there's not amazingly great building locations like there was in some of the other maps. These are going to be a lot more... It seems like they almost PvE'd it out a little bit. They made it so you don't have as many choke points. They really wanted to make it a little bit more difficult to get those, like, you're not going to have like alpha plat like you have on Rag, or ice caves or anything like that you have on some of those other maps. You can't build in any of the actual caves. They're really limited what you can and where you can do things here, which is, we'll see if it's good or bad. I don't know. I mean, everyone still has their home servers too, right? So who really knows what's going to happen here? But that's my top 5, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed. Hope you guys liked the video. If you did, hit that thumbs up. Make sure you guys subscribe. We're going to make sure we put out a bunch more Extinction content. Even while recording this one, I've been recording so many other things like the Titans, the resource locations, things like that. So make sure you guys hit that subscribe button, turn on the little bell for notifications, and thanks for watching. I'll see you guys next time.